Hey, what's going on, guys? A little introduction to my first video on this new channel. Before we start this actual video, I'm starting this YouTube channel to bring a lot of tips and tricks and basic kind of stuff to you guys. Trying to think mostly of ideas still. Not sure if it's gonna be more aimed towards these specific trucks. I'll probably be doing anything and everything, but for starters, this is my truck. It's a 97 F250 HD with the 5.8 in it. It's an extended cab, long bed, XLT. And I'm going to show you how to make your 20-year-old paint look brand new. So as you can see here, this paint's really fucking shiny right now. Like, really gorgeous. It really doesn't take a lot of work to achieve these results. I mean, just look at how reflective that shit is. Go along the fucking body toward the end of the bed, and it all looks pretty good. Now, keep in mind, this truck did not look like this when I first got it. It looked terrible. The paint was all sun faded. It still got some issues. Clear coat spill on the roof. Don't know what I'm going to do about that, but I'll definitely make a video on it in the future. But this hood right here, it was all sun faded, and now it just looks like pretty much brand new paint, besides a couple of little scratches, and got a little bit of clear coat peeling right here. Try to get you to see that a little bit. But all in all, to fix paint like this and do it within a day's amount of time and maybe spend $50 at the most doing it versus a whole new paint job, it's definitely fucking worth it. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how the hell I first this is my buffer right here. It's probably the cheapest buffer you could get. I bought this at Walmart for 25 bucks. It's a 10-inch buffer, so it's got a really big surface area. It gets it done quick. It doesn't really matter what size you get, really, but I prefer a big one. It just helps with getting everything done quicker. And as far as what you're going to start out with too, you're going to want that buffer, or any buffer. That's a cheap one, so I'm going to recommend that one. Alright, so I mentioned the buffer. Before you even start with the buffer, you're going to want to use this stuff. It's called clay. You get it in a box at Walmart or any auto parts store. It's regular clay, and it comes with some Mother's Detailer, and it also comes with a microfiber. You get 2 clay bars. You could mostly do a whole truck with 2 clay bars. Doesn't take that much. The clay gets dirty, you re-knit it every so often. Make sure you don't rub anything into the paint. But speaking of rubbing, what you do with a clay bar, this should be the first step before you even touch a buffer with any vehicle that you get with old paint. You're going to want to take that clay bar and you spray a little bit of that detailer. Say, let's start with the fender. So you spray a little bit on the fender, take your clay bar, and you start rubbing it till the surface feels smooth. You're going to feel it at first. It's going to be a little hard, and then it'll get smooth. So you do that all along the body till you can touch it and glide your hand across, and it's smooth. You don't feel anything in the paint. This is the first step for a really good finish on your paint when you're done. So you make sure you do the whole truck in clay bar. Whole truck, whole car, whatever you have. Just make sure you get the whole thing with a clay bar. Probably takes about an hour or two. It's not really long. The clay works really fast in getting everything out, but you definitely want to do that because that is your base layer, and having those little contaminants will really fuck up your end result. So you definitely want to get those out of there as soon as possible. Just look at that fucking beautiful shine. This isn't even waxed yet. It's still part of the process, but just check that out. It's 20-year-old paint just gleaming in the sunlight. Absolutely. Once you're done with that, you could wipe it off right away. I wouldn't let it dry too long. Do one panel at a time. Wipe that panel off once you're done. Then you'll have a result kind of looking like this. It really brings out the color a lot more. And I actually could show you because I didn't do the roof yet. So if you look up here, you could see the difference up here versus the rest of the body. So up there I didn't use rubbing compound, and this is what just that will do for your paint. So pretty good. And that bottle's only probably like $10. All right, so now once you're done with the clay, you're ready for the buffer. This is what I use on my first step. It's Ultimate Compound by Meguiar's. This stuff works really good. Definitely would recommend that. If you want to go with a different kind of compound, that's cool too. Just make sure you get a compound that's not polishing compound. It's more like rubbing compound. Something with a lot more grit, especially if your paint's older like mine is and definitely sun faded. So you do this. You're going to work it in with the buffer. I would show you guys, but I already did it, so there's no point in doing it again, especially since I already put a wax coat on. But you're going to rub it in with the buffer. You don't want to go crazy and take too much stuff off, especially if your paint is peeling like mine kind of is in some spots. You just want to do a generous amount. Don't go crazy with one area. I'd probably say spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes on every panel. Then, as a final result, you're going to want to use some kind of wax once you go around and do every panel with the buffer. It will always come out consistent if you get every spot. You definitely don't want to leave out any areas. Like the pillars I did, I got everything visible, like the corner piece and the roof and around this back window here. Anything you can't reach with a buffer, you could do it by hand. It won't come out great, but it'll be better than leaving it the way it is. You definitely want to have a nice finished product where you definitely don't leave out anything. And so with wax, it's the same as applying it by hand as using with a buffer. You want to buff the panel for a good 2 to 3 minutes. Let it dry up till it starts turning like that white. Then you're going to want to rub it off. So far I've waxed this fender, the door, and this rear cab part. Bed has not been done, and you can kind of tell the difference on the wax versus not wax. It's a little darker, a little shinier on the wax part. So that wax will really help out with the scratches as well. So that is definitely how you get your old paint to look this good. Alright guys, and that's probably it for my first video here on this new channel. I'll be doing a lot more stuff like this. I have to get some ideas going and some video thoughts, but if you guys like to definitely help out this startup, give me a like, give me a comment, whatever you need. If you guys got any questions, let me know. And I plan on doing a lot more videos like this in the future. So thanks for watching. So with wax, it's the same as applying it by hand as using with a buffer. You want to buff the panel for a good 2 to 3 minutes. Let it dry up till it starts turning like that white. Then you're going to want to rub it off. So far I've waxed this fender, the door, and this rear cab part. Bed has not been done, and you can kind of tell the difference on the wax versus not wax. It's a little darker, a little shinier on the wax part. So that wax will really help out with the scratches as well. So that is definitely how you get your old paint to look this good.